to Almighty and His blessings to one and all present here. We are indeed blessed and happy to have with us Professor Sudesh Nanga, Madam, as President of the session. With this invitation, former Professor at CNRD JNU New Delhi and ex-president of NAGI IIG and AJS ISP for the 71th episode of online lecture series on founders and makers of modern geography in India, devoted to Professor R. Ramachandran, former professor in a Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. With permission of the President, Sudesh Nangia Madam, I would now like to invite Professor Subhash Anand sir, Professor in a Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi, to propose welcome address. Professor
Yes,
Subhash
please,
Anand
we
sir.
can go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks. So, very good evening to all. Ma'am, I am audible?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Honorable pattern of the founders and the makers of modern geography in India, Professor Rana Pratapji. Honorable President, Madam Professor Sudesh Nagia. Convener, Madam Professor Savit Simita Chauhan, ma'am. Speaker of today lecture, Honorable Professor Noor Mohammed, sir. Chief guest of today lecture, Professor S.K. Agarwal, sir. Distinguished guest, Professor H. Ramachandran, Professor Anu Kapoor, Professor Kushal Kumar Sharma, Professor V.K. Tyagi, Dr. Poonam Bihari, Professor Nitasha Malhotra, and other distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, faculty members, dear students, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I express my sincere thanks and high gratitude to the organizer of this 71 episode of the founders and makers of modern geography in India episode, Professor Devendra Pratap Singh, for organizing this lecture at this evening. It's a matter of the immense and huge pride, privilege, and great pleasure for me that at this evening we are going to have a wonderful lecture in the great honor and memory one of the most distinguished scholars of Indian geography fraternity, Professor R. Ramachandran, whose remarkable, significant, wonderful, and huge contributions and long academic journey in the geographical scholarships in India and world. Professor R. Ramachandran, born on 13th November 1936 in the Throor of the Malapuram district of the Kerala. And his academic excellence was evident from his student days. He graduated with a BSc honors degree in geography from Presidency College, University of Madras, scoring first rank and gold medal in the year of 1957. His pursuits of knowledge led him to earn a PhD degree in geography from Clark University, US, as a recipient of the very honorable and prestigious Smith Fulbright Fellowship also. Over a distinguished career spanning several decades, Professor R. Ramachandran served in a very premium academic institutions and organizations, including University of Delhi, where he rose from the position of as a lecturer to the great professor. And later on, he held several key positions, including head of the department, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi, and Dean of Faculty of Social Sciences and Director of Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi, along with being a great expert across the country and beyond. His academic influence extended internationally through his appointment at the University of Wisconsin and visiting professor at University of Clark and the Massey University. The seminal work of the Professor R. Ramachandran was Urbanization, Urban Systems in India, which remains a very foundational text for academic and scientific community and for policymakers. This book gained a very huge popularity across the world. His scholarship had significantly enriched our understanding, knowledge, and critical thinking of the urbanization, urban system, urbanism, regional development, and Indian society. Beyond the geography discipline, his writings on Hindu civilization and culture reflect the breadth of its intellectual vision and commitment to the interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary inquiry. Today, dear friends, as we know that we have gathered here to celebrate his extraordinary achievement, and we also acknowledge his role as a mentor, as a institution builder, and an inspiration to generation of the geographers. His commitment, dedication to the academic excellence and rigorous research and public scholarships continues to guide and inspire us. So, friends, on the behalf of the Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi, I extend my warm and heartfelt thanks and welcome to all the participants. I am also deeply honored by the presence of our former faculties, Honorable Professor Noor Mohammed, Sir, Professor S.K. Agarwal, Professor Annu Kapoor, Professor R. Ramachandran, and Professor Koshal Kumar, Professor V.K. Tyagi, and Professor Poonam Bihari, and others. So, friends, please join me to appreciate the contribution of legendary geographer Professor R. Ramachandran. I heartily appreciate the huge effort of our former faculty, Professor Noor Mohammed and Professor Agarwal, who will outline his contributions in this lecture. For this episode, I extend my deep appreciation and thanks to the organizer, Professor Devendra Pratap Singh and Dr. Rajesh Abhay from the Cluster Innovation Center, University of Delhi, for taking the pains and taking the all possible efforts to organize this and coordinate this lecture. Even though since last more than 6 months, we were planning to conduct a lecture in the memory of Professor R. Ramachandran, but due to some problem, we could not do it in 2025. But now in 2026, we are organizing this lecture and we will continue after this the another lecture for the memory of our other faculty members. So dear friends, I am fully sure in coming times we will have the more wonderful lectures in the memory of our other honorable colleagues and faculty of the University of Delhi or Department of Geography. And finally, I express my sincere thanks to all the participants who are here, who are the part of this wonderful event, which now we are having a lecture in the great memory of our Professor R. Ramachandran, which is known RR. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot. A bundle of thanks. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Professor Subhash Anand, sir, for your warm welcome address and brief and your great support for the success of this episode. Thanks a lot, sir. With permission of our President Chair, Professor Sudesh Nangia, Madam, I would
Please
now
go
like
ahead.
to Yes, yes. I would now like to invite our speaker of the day, Professor Noor Mohammad sir, former professor and head, Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. Professor Mohammad sir, please. Sir, please unmute yourself. आप म्यूट हो, अनम्यूट कीजिए.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I'm
Can
audible.
hear you, sir.
Yes, sir, yes.
May I start now?
Yes, sir, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Professor Rana Pratap Singh, the patron of the episode. Professor Sudesh Nagia, the president of the event. Professor S.V. Chaman, the convener. Professor S.V. Agarwal, the chief guest. A close associate of mine and Professor Ramachandran. Professor Subhash Anand, who is currently occupying the chair of the Department of Geography DSC, which had been chaired by Professor Ramachandran for more than a decade. Professor D.P. Singh, the soul behind this CPUs. Other distinguished scholars who have joined this episode, good evening to all of you and also to others who have yet to join. First of all, I am very much grateful to the organizers of this event, that is, event of the founders and makers of modern geography of India by the Institute for Humana Research and Rural Development, devoted to the one of the makers of the Department of Geography of Delhi School of Sani, that is Professor R. Ramachandran. My dear friends, considering my close association with Professor Ramachandran, I have been requested to present a comprehensive biography with a special reference to his academic contribution of Professor R. Ramachandran, who had a brilliant lifespan of about 9 decades. It is very difficult, rather impossible, to give a comprehensive account of it in one lecture. It would be it would be like putting ocean in a pot. समुंदर को कोजे में रखने के बराबर है. It required a series of lectures to cover it. However, I am presenting before you a few glimpses of his life. Professor Ramachandran, popularly known as R. Ramachandran, a dynamic living geographer of the country. He is very talented, laborious, hardworking, visionary, democratic, from the core of his heart, religious and a highly sensitive human being. He is also a great academician and a strict disciplinarian and a man of ethics and high morale. His all virtues can be noticed throughout the journey of his life, which can be classed into 4 phases. His lifespan of about 89 years, I would like to put into 4 main phases. Phase 1 can be marked as his early life and early education, while he spent the tutelage of his teachers like father. The second phase can be recognized as his commitment and endeavor of higher education, also for which he has spent his time in Madras University, Chennai, and ultimately proceeded to the United States of America. For the third phase of his life journey, he joined the Department of Geography of Delhi University, Delhi, and devoted his entire energy and talent in making department as par with global level. For the fourth or the post-retirement phase, he is fully concentrated towards spiritualism and writing spiritual books and he is completely devoted towards religion and spiritualism. Now, his early life and education, the first phase, which begins from 13th November 1936 to 1954, about 18 years. Professor Ramachandran, popularly known as RR among his colleagues and students, was born on November 13th of 1936 in Tirur of Malappuram district of Kerala. His father, Ranganathan, was a well-educated schoolmaster, a figure of discipline and knowledge, who played a crucial role in shaping Ramachandran's academic aspirations. His early education began at Board High School, Patna district of Kerala. He then pursued intermediate studies 1952-1954 at Government Arts College, Coimbatore, excelling academically. Now, the third phase, recognizing his potential, he secured admission to the Presidency College, University of Madras in 1954-57, where he did his honors in geography with mathematics as a subsidiary subject. His brilliance was evident as he graduated first class with a first rank, securing a gold medal. His master's degree in geography, 1958, from the University of Madras, was awarded in elapse of time, a system in practice then. However, his academic breakthrough came in 1964 when he received the Fulbright Fellowship, enabling him to pursue a PhD at Clark University, Worcester, United States of America, 1964-69. His doctoral research was on diffusion of electric irrigation pumps in Coimbatore district, laid a strong foundation of urban geography and spatial analysis, the themes that would later become defining pillars in his academic career. Dr. Ramchandran has earned his PhD as one of the brightest students of Professor Cates at Clark University, 1964-69. His main interests have been urban and regional planning, historical geography, and research methodology. Professor Ramchandran led a disciplined and intellectually rich life. His wife Shanta Ramchandran, though highly educated, chose to dedicate herself to the household, particularly in kitchen gardening, along with her father. He was gifted with two daughters, one of whom completed an MA in economics from the Delhi School of Economics and University of Delhi, while the other pursued studies in other disciplines. Both have established themselves in prestigious academic and professional institutions in India and abroad. Now, the next phase, academic career and contribution. It starts from 1969 to 2006, expanding over about 37 years. Professor Ramchandran's professional journey began in 1957 as a research assistant at the Center of Regional Development Indian Institute, Kolkata. Professor Ramchandran's professional journey began in 1957 as a research assistant at the Center for Regional Development, Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. This experience deepened his understanding of regional planning and economic geography. He soon transitioned to teaching, securing a lecturer position in Karnataka, Dharwad University. After earning his PhD from Clark University, United States of America, he briefly worked as an assistant professor at the University of Wisconsin, United States of America from 1967 to 1968. However, his deep commitment to India's academic growth led him back home. In July 1969, he joined the Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi as a lecturer. His academic excellence and leadership qualities saw him rise quickly through the ranks of Reader 1971-76, Professor 1977 to 1996. I have come to know and met Professor Ramchandran in Ratan Tala Library, popularly known as RTL of Delhi School of Economics of Delhi University, after his joining the Department of Geography of University of Delhi, formerly known as Department of Human Geography. as a lecturer in July 1969. Incidentally, I had also joined the Department of Geography of Petroleum College of Delhi University in July of the same year. He was much impressed by me when I successfully conducted the geography practical examination in the Department of Geography at Delhi School of Economics by framing innovative methods of group formation and paper setting. Knowing my innovative method of teaching from students joining Department of Geography after graduating from Petroleum College, he invited me to take postgraduate classes in the department. As Dr. S.K. Paul had gone to Jawaharlal Nehru University. Fortunately, in 1976, I also joined the Department of Geography at Delhi School of Economics when he was the head of the department. As such, both of us became colleagues and working together. Early entry of Ramachandran in the Department of Geography. The entry of Dr. Ramachandran in the Department of Geography, Delhi University, as a lecturer was happened in a quite dramatical manner. The story starts with the joining of Professor V.L.S. Prakasha Rao as professor and head of the Department of the University of Delhi in 1966. At that time, there were only three teaching members in the department. Professor V.L.S. Prakasha Rao, who was the professor, and Dr. Savitri Gova Burman and Mrs. Rukmani Srivas were lecturers. There were two posts of readers also in the department, but they were lying vacant. As per the suggestion of Professor Rao, one of those vacant posts was converted into the post of professor and another into lecturer. Dr. K. K. Khan, K. K. Khatu, and Dr. Saroj Kumar Pal were appointed as lecturers against those positions in 1967. But Khatu, however, resigned from the post of lecturer just within a year. After the attempts were made by the university authorities to fill up that post of professor, which proved futile as no suitable person could be selected. In such a situation, Professor V.L.S. Prakasha Rao once again suggested the appointment of a reader against the professor post as a temporary measure, and it was assumed that the post of professor would be released as and when the post of reader is created during the fifth five-year plan. On the basis of that suggestion, Dr. Ramachandran was appointed first as a lecturer in 1969, entered in the department as teaching member. Subsequently, he was promoted to the position of reader against the post of professor in August 1970. Thus, Dr. Ramachandran became permanent part and parcel of the department and totally involved himself in teaching and research. But only after a few years, the responsibility of conduct of Department of Geography of University of Delhi came upon his shoulders because because of the fact that Professor V.L.K. Spasha Rao left the Department of Geography of Delhi University for his another assignment at the Institute of Economic Growth and Social Change, Bangalore, towards the end of 1972. However, three successive terms of leading Professor Ramachandran was started. Now his three terms of chairmanship. Thus, a new phase in the academics and professional career of Professor Ramachandran had started after the departure of Professor V.L.S. Prakasha Rao from the Department of Geography of Delhi University, Delhi, in the end of 1972, and he became the temporary head of the Department of Geography, Delhi University, Delhi. He occupied that position firstly as the fifth head of the department from 1972 to 1980, secondly as the seventh head of the same department from 1981 to 1984, and thirdly, but lastly, as the 10th head of the department from 1990 to 1993. Thus, the total tenure of his headship was about 14 years, which has been the longest tenure of any head of the department, such as a long span of his headship enabled him to impact much upon the departmental affairs, imprint of which can be visualized even today. This stage of consolidation. Now, the stage of consolidation. A new period of geography at the university began in 1973 with the departure of Professor Prakasha Rao to the Institute of Economic Growth and Social Change at the Bangalore. The expansion of geography in the Department of Geography, Delhi University, suffered a temporary setback with his departure. Dr. Ramachandran was appointed as the acting head of the department, which he served in this capacity for 4 years, 1973-76, and head till 1980. After a rather long period of difficult transition between 1973-76, the department not only revived under his leadership but also consolidated the progress that had been made in the early years. His main interests have been urban and regional planning, historical geography, and research methodology. He has the first member among the staff to evince keen interest in the growing quantitative analysis computer cartography. He showed considerable skills as head, and his duration as chair will long be remembered as a period bringing stability and continuity in the department. He was also the director of Delhi School of Economics from 1977 to April 1979. By the mid 17, it was felt that unless the physical and resource aspect of geography were also incorporated as part of the core program of the department, full justice could not be done to the human aspect of the discipline. Thus, the department was renamed the Department of Geography in 1976. Earlier, it was known as Department of Human Geography. The syllabi at the undergraduate and postgraduate saw a sea change. Under the guidance and significant advances and improvements in the status of geography accomplished, several new courses in the field of urban and regional geography, resource and environmental management, social and political geography, and research methodology were added, while some of the more traditional courses were dropped. He played a major part in planning for the expansion in the faculty. Dr. Noor Muhammad joined the department as lecturer in 1976, and Mrs. Savitri Goba Marman was appointed reader in 1976 and professor in 1979. In addition, the conscious attempts were made to introduce geography in many colleges. The teaching of geography at the pass course level was introduced in Shahid Bhagat Singh Evening College in 1973 under the charge of Dr. V.K. Tyagi, which was later taken over by Mrs. Sudeshna Surinder Singh. Pass course level was also introduced in Kamala Nehru College in 1974 under the charge of Ms. Kamala Sheshan, followed by Ms. Kiran Oberoi in 1975, Mrs. Nahid Ibrahim 1977, and Mrs. Geeta Huja 1978, and in Shiva College in 1977 under the charge of B.S. Dahiya. The department has continued its efforts to forge links with the colleges, and this is the evident in interaction maintained over the years. In fact, this has helped in maintaining high standard of geography in the Delhi University. During his time, a number of teachers were recruited in many colleges in process of expansion and diversification of existing department. Dr. R.S. Agarwal and P.K. Parihar joined Dayal Singh College in 1975, followed by Dr. Mrs. Niranjana Dwivedi 1978 and Mrs. Rekha Sharma in 1977. Mrs. Poonam Bihari was appointed in Miranda House in 1976. Visiting lecturership at other universities broadened horizon and generated new research interests for a few faculty members. Dr. Saroj Kumar Paul visited the Department of Geography, University of Wisconsin as a visiting fellow in the Fulbright program during December 1975 to August 1976 and was attached with the Environmental Monitoring and Data Acquisition Group of the University of Wisconsin. Professor Ramachandran was a visiting professor at Clark University in 1973 and at Massey University, New Zealand in 1978. In 1978, Dr. Noor Muhammad authored a book on agricultural land use in India. During his tenure as head, many students of the department were awarded PhD degree. just as they were Abdullah A. Fanoon, 1973, on some aspect of water resources developed in Damodar Valley region, a study in runoff. S.C. Thakur, 1976, on human perception and adjustment to flood hazards in Ganga floodplains. C.S. Yadav, 1976, on spatial pattern of residential land use structure in urban Delhi. Kishan Prabha, 1976, on settlement structure and hierarchy in Punjab. Beena Srivastava, 1976, on rural-urban fringe of Delhi, structural functional patterns, all under Dr. Ramachandran. V.K. Tyagi, 1976, on urban village of Delhi, structural pattern and transformation, and Chidoli Ofia, 1979, Spatial Analysis of Population Growth and Family Planning in Northern Region of Rural India, were also under Dr. C.P. Singh. It was during his period that the Association of Geographic Studies, AGS, was started in 1979 with the objective of promoting mutual academic and contract among members, organizing academic activities such as seminars, workshops, and field trips. Now the second generation is a teacher, the second phase. Professor Ramchandran again assumed the chair in November 1981 and served it in his capacity for 3 years, 1991 to 1984. 1981 to 1984. During this period, faculty size in the department remained stable, but the period of professional stagnation of teachers gave way to spiritual promotion. Dr. C.P. Singh and Dr. Noor Muhammad were promoted to the post rank of readers, and Dr. Baleshwar Thakur was appointed as a reader. However, a number of changes occurred in colleges. Dr. N.S. Sharma retired in 1982 from Kirurimal College and was succeeded by Mrs. Manushi Lahiri in 1982. Mr. Kausal Kumar Sharma in 1984. Past courses teaching was introduced in 1983 in Surasti College, Kulang, Bhutan, affiliated to the University of Delhi under the charge of Dr. V.K. Tyagi. He had gone to Bhutan for 3 years under the Colombo Plan as a senior lecturer in geography. Mrs. Gayatri Raghavan was appointed to strengthen the staff in the Shahid Bhagat Singh College in 1983, which she resigned in 1992. Dr. Mrs. Vandita Oak joined Dayal Singh College in 1984. In addition, Mr. Sudhir Kumar Sinha was appointed lecturer in Shahid Bhagat Singh College Evening in 1982. Taken as a whole, the faculty members' efforts in securing research funding were successful in his tenure. Dr. Saroj Paul got ISRO grant to work on sequential satellite imagery for flood zoning and land use subsequent to flood and Ganga and Brahmaputra basin in 1982 and on CO70 TV data for studying 1982 monsoon season. He has also received grant from the Government of India to work on terrain analysis using remote sensing data in Ladakh region in 1983. Dr. C.P. Singh completed 2 of his research projects on spatial analysis of March 1977 election sponsored by UGC and another on geographical analysis of 7th parliamentary election in India supported by Indian Council of Social Science Research. Dr. Noor Muhammad got a project on impact of caste and primary occupation, a geographical analysis. The doctoral degree was in 1984 to Mrs. Mahita Sharma for a dissertation on human ecology of Khadar tract in Meerut district under the supervision of Professor Mrs. Gavati Barjan. Dr. Muhammad published a 5-volume series on perspectives in agriculture geography in 1982, New Delhi. The AGS under the guidance of Professor Ramchandran had a steady growth over the years. The ninth chairman, Professor Ramchandran, 1993, added many new dimensions to the department. A major accomplishment spearheaded by him was the securing of suitable physical space on the ground floor of teaching block with more than 400 square feet. It provided space to technical staff and support facilities. Now, all the teachers and technical staff in the department had independent office space. The department had an up-to-date cartographic laboratory, an extensive lab library, geomorphology laboratory, and a statistical laboratory. However, research scholars and research students did not have working space at that time, nor the department was in tune with latest development in the field of geography. That is, geomorphic laboratory focusing on remote sensing research, computer-assisted cartography, and geographic information system. Professor Ramachandran decentralized the key sectors of the departmental administration in view of bringing more efficiency and development of teachers, making Dr. Noor Muhammad in charge of MPhil and PhD program, Dr. S.K. Agarwal of MA program, Dr. Baleshwar Thakur of undergraduate program, Dr. H. Ramchandran of office and administration, and Dr. Barkatullah Khan of technical work and equipments. The doctoral degree was awarded to Ali Abwakir Azizi in 1992 for a dissertation entitled Anthropogenic Impact on Environmental Change in Temperate Zone of Himalaya, and Lakhvinder Singh 1930 for the dissertation on the Integrated Block Development Planning and Agriculture Developed Region, both under Dr. R.B. Singh. Professor Ramachandran was the Dean of Social Sciences for the year 1992-1993. Dr. Baleshwar Thakur was appointed professor under the UGC promotion scheme in 1990, raising the number of professors to 4 in the department. He was also a Fulbright visiting professor in the Department of Geography, University of Akron, USA, from June to August 1992. Dr. V.K. Tyagi spent 2 months in Germany during November-December 1992 at the University of Kiel under German Academic Exchange Program. Mr. Kaushal Kumar Sharma went to Bhutan for 2.5 years, 1990-1993, as a lecturer in geography at the Colombo Plan. The teaching of geography at BA honors level was introduced in Shahid Bhagat Singh College evening in 1991 under the charge of Mr. Sudhir Kumar Sinha, and past course level was introduced to B.R. Ambedkar College in 1992 under the charge of Dr. R.N. Dubey. During this phase also, a number of teachers were recruited in many colleges in the process of expansion of existing college departments. Mr. Bharati Dave joined Kamala Nehru College. Ms. Ansu Sonak joined Kerumal College in 1990. Mr. Tejveer Singh, Mrs. Meera Chatterjee, and Mr. Piriti Joshi joined Shivaji College in 1990 as lecturers. Mrs. Vinita Mathur and Ms. Pratibha Vyasadeva joined the lecturer in Dayal Singh College and Kamala Nehru College, respectively, in 1991. A number of teachers published books, including Dr. Noor Muhammad, published on New Dimensions Agriculture Geography in 8 volumes. Dr. S. Ramachandran on Schooling and Rural Transformation and Integrated Rural Development in Asia. Dr. R.B. Singh on Environmental Monitoring, Application of Remote Sensing and GIS. Dynamics of Mountain Ecosystem, and R. Thakur on the imbalances of agricultural productivity. Dr. R.N. Dubey on Population, Environment, and Regional Planning. Mr. Manoshi Lahare on the Bihar Geographical Information System. Mr. S.L. Gupta on Bhu Akirti Vigyan, 1992. This phase also saw using the organization of international conference in the department. Dr. C.P. Singh organized IGU Commission Conference on World Political Map in November 1990. Dr. S.K. Agarwal organized Third International Conference on Asian Urbanization in January 1991. And Dr. R.B. Singh organized International Seminar on Managing Ecosystem, a perspective for the 21st century, December 1991. The department made a change in the existing scheme of MA examination, and detailed courses of reading were introduced to the implement for July 1993. It was done because the existing scheme of examination was introduced from July 1987, and MA syllabi is changed once in 5 years. In the meanwhile, the BA honors syllabi were thoroughly revised in 1992 in a growing number of schemes and topics which were part of the existing MA courses in geography. Of the 30 courses listed, 9 were entirely new courses, while the remaining 21 courses were thoroughly revised and updated in terms of event reference. New courses reflected recent concerns on environment and ecological problems, as well as emphasis on the new methodologies involving remote sensing and geographical information system. This syllabus was quite unique and innovative in sense that first, it provided free choice to students to select specified courses of linking. And second, teachers framed the courses based on their developing specialization in the subject rather than content were also predetermined and thrust on them. Such free choice for students and independent filling of syllabus is not available in other in Department of Delhi University, nor in any other university in the country. Another significant achievement of this phase has been the introduction of research forum under the in charge of Professor Dr. Dr. Noor Muhammad, in which MPhil, MA proposals and findings were presented and discussed. Thus, the headship of Professor Ramachandran in general and the third term of his chairship in particular was much productive, innovative, and significant, which gave the Department of Geography of the University of Delhi a special importance and reputation. It also reflected the administrative capability and futuristic vision of Professor Ramachandran. Additionally, Additionally, he contributed various capacities to University Grants Commission, CBSC, ICSR, and the National Open School of Learning, influencing policies, framing, and academic development. Close association with the eminent geographers. Professor Ramchandran was closely associated with the contemporary eminent geographers such as Professor V.L.S. Prakasha Rao, Professor L.S. Bhatt, and Professor K.V. Sundaram. His association with these scholars strengthened his research framework, particularly in regional planning and spatial analysis. Professor Ramchandran was an intelligent supervisor and an accomplished researcher. He successfully supervised numerous MPhil and PhD students, many of whom pursued a distinguished career in academia and research institutions. His research interests included urban geography, regional planning, diffusion innovation studies, and environmental sustainability. He completed several research projects individually and in collaboration with others. Professor Ramchandran's influence extended beyond the classroom into academia, leadership, and policy making. His role included head of the Department of Geography, University of Delhi for over a decade across 3 terms, Dean Faculty of Social Science, Director, School of Delhi Economics, member of the Academic Council and Executive Council of the University of Delhi. As a member of the Board of Research Studies and Selection Committee across multiple research postgraduate classes, he was actively involved in shaping syllabi, paper setting, and examination policies. The UPSC and various state public service commissions, including Kerala, Mysore, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, etc., sought his expertise in their various curriculum and administrative programs and policies. Additionally, he contributed in various capacities to University Grants Commission, CBSC, ICSR, and the National Open School Learning, influencing policy framework and academic development. One of the most notable administrative achievements was founding the Association of Geographical Studies, which he chaired for many terms. His leadership in AGS helped to promote interdisciplinary geographical research and establish a stronger collaboration among the scholars. He was also instrumental in reviving the Geography Developmental Research Journal, Analytical Geography, a platform that became an essential medium for scholarly discourse. Although Professor Ramchandran has written many books and several articles published in national and international research journals, but his research legacy is most prominently associated with his urban geography and regional development. One of Professor Ramachandran's most influential work, Urbanization Urban System in India, published by Oxford University Press 1989, remains a foundational text in the urban geography in India. He later published in Hindi edition or two. This comprehensive and insightful analysis examines India's urban system evolution, structure, and spatial organization, integrating geographical perspective with historical and socio-economic dimensions. Professor Ramchandran approached urbanization as a dynamic process, emphasizing the interdependencies between the urban centers and their hinterlands. His study provides a micro-level assessment of spatial patterns, city classification, and the locational aspect of urban growth. The book critically assesses the strengths and weaknesses of the Indian urban system, offering valuable insights into the contemporary urban challenges such as overcrowding, unplanned development, and regional disparities. The book is structured systematically and begins with an overview of urbanization studies in India, followed by an in-depth historical analysis that conceptualizes modern urban development. Subsequent chapters explore urbanization process, spatial pattern, settlement system, and theories of urban location, leading to an examination of the relationship between cities and their surrounding regions. The final section addresses urban policy making, advocating for balanced regional development by promoting smaller cities and towns to alleviate the pressure of metropolitan congestion. By bridging theoretical models with empirical observations, Professor Ramchandran presents his holistic perspective on urban development, making this work an essential reference for urban planners, geographers, policymakers, and researchers. His vision for sustainable urban growth and regional planning continues to shape scholarly discussion and inform policy frameworks in contemporary urban cities. In 2013, of the Delhi University. Now the last phase from 2006 to 2025, that is 19 years. In his post-retirement years, he devoted himself to Indology, authoring Hinduism in context of Manusmriti, Vedas, and Bhagavad Gita. A A History of Hinduism, the Past, Present, and Future, says publication 2018. His deep engagement with Hindu philosophy was preceded by an excessive study of Puranas and Vedas. His knowledge of Sanskrit gave him a unique perspective on ancient Indian texts, allowing him to produce original interpretation of Hinduism. He considers a history of Hinduism his most significant intellectual and original contribution, reflecting a deep and analytical synthesis of Hindu philosophy, scriptures, and history. After retirement in 1996, he moved to his hometown in Tamil Nadu, frequently traveling to Bangalore, Coimbatore, and other cities. He settled in a scenic, pollution-free suburban environment at 2,000 feet above sea level, where he enjoyed a mild climate, clean air, and pure water. Despite stepping away from formal academia, he remains thinker, a scholar, and an inspiration. His books, research, and teaching continue to shape the minds of students, researchers, and policymakers. Professor Ramchandran's career is a testament to intellectual brilliance, academic leadership, and interdisciplinary scholarship. His contribution to urban geography, regional planning, and Indology remains unparalleled. Even after about 30 years of retirement, he not only remembered by his own colleagues, students, and others, but also recognized with honor and respect by a large number of geographers, community across the country and outside too. On the basis of the above discussion, it can be remarked that though Professor Ramchandran was not the founder of the Department of Geography of Delhi University, He was the fifth head of the department, however, he has been the real maker of the department. It has been a reality that the four earlier heads of the department could not get much time to give a proper shape to this department of geography, which is being located in the national capital region. Professor V.L.S. Prakasha Rao tried to give it a proper shape during his tenure of leadership in 1965 and 1973, but he was left in it with the midway to face it, the phase of uncertainty. Professor Ramachandran got an opportunity of its headship by chance, but put all of his talent, energy, and vision to make it a world-class center of learning, teaching, and research in the field of geography. Fortunately, he succeeded in his mission as he got 3 terms of headship of the Department of Geography and all total about 14 years of freehand sailing and dealing with the affairs. He really exercised all of his training and experience, which he acquired and inherited from his disciplinarian father, who himself was also a teacher and also weighted all the knowledge, which he acquired in the USA during his stay there as a doctoral researcher. Professor Ramchandra really succeeded in his mission and led the department at par to world class so as our teaching, research, and publication are concerned. Ultimately, he succeeded in his mission and the department was transformed as a center of excellence of geographical teaching and research. He not only made his university departments a world class but also extended geography teaching in many of the colleges of the University of Delhi. He motivated all of his departmental colleagues, research scholars, and students towards authentic and original researches and encouraged them to publication also. He was thus prepared a large band of committed teachers, sincere researchers, and various professionals, etc. He has been a man who performed his duties with full sincerity, devotion, honesty, transparency, efficiency, etc. During his student life, he learned all the required lessons with his abundance. During his stage of doctoral research, he paid full attention and honesty towards it. Similarly, as a teacher, he performed well all his duties assigned. As the head of the department, Professor Ramchand excellently did his job. After retirement, he left the academic world and he is giving complete devotion to spiritualism and religion. He has written a letter to me saying that now I have left geography and I'm devoting to the spiritual geography. Although Professor Ramchandran left his heavenly abode on 2nd July 2025 and is physically no more with us. But a scholar do not die. They remain among us in their works and intellectual contributions. They also live in the tradition which they established, the stories which his students tell about him, and the anecdotes which are related to him. The best tribute we could pay to him is to keep his tradition and culture and also work together for the development of our discipline in geography. I pray God Almighty that his soul rest in peace. At the end, I conclude by reciting a famous couplet of Iqbal, हजारों साल नरगिस अपनी बेनूरी पे रोती है, हजारों साल नरगिस अपनी बेनूरी पे रोती है, बड़ी मुश्किल से होता है चमन में दीदार पैदा. Thank you very much for patience hearing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Professor Murli sir. What a great and awesome presentation, deliberation of this episode. And you have rightly said that this one particular lecture is not sufficient, but definitely the contribution of Professor R. Ramachandran sir would go a long way in the form of publication very soon in the encyclopedias that would be published by Professor Devendra Prasad and would be released shortly. Thanks a lot. Uh, the voluminous contribution in strengthening the academics, research, administration, by Professor Ramachandran sir in various branches of geography has widely diffused and has helped in enriching and occupying different positions by his research scholars. A great contribution to the nation and the society by him. We are really blessed to have such geographers as founders of the geography department. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time and presenting in such a grand. Thanks a lot. With due permission of our president, Professor Sudesh Nangia Madam, I would now like to invite our panel members to please give a brief note of their observations or their experiences, if any, in a nutshell of 2 minutes so that all are able to give their views on this platform. I would now like to invite our patron of the episode, Professor Rana Pratap sir, former professor in the Department of Geography, Magad University, Bodhgaya, Bihar, and former president of Nagri Patna and AGAJ, to please say a few words.
Uh, Thank you, madam. Really, today I am very happy to see the senior geographers of our country, like Professor Noor Muhammad, Professor S.K. Agarwal, Professor Sudesh Nagia, and so many eminent persons are here, along with the younger geographers who are contributing a lot in the development of our discipline. Today's episode is very interesting. It relates to development of Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, Department of Geography. Really, now the center stands as one of the recorded academic centers. And Professor Nur Muhammad has nicely narrated, and he made us to know that how Professor Ramachandran built up the department and made it up so famous online. Friends, our aim actually is to highlight the hidden personality of geographers. Though Professor Ramachandran was not hidden, he was well known. And today, this is very interesting to know all the things about a senior professor like Nur Muhammad, who very patiently, very categorically, and he has narrated the things in a nice way, and we are happy to receive it as a teacher he has taught us today. Friends, this our aim, our motive to explore new and new things, we are getting success. And Professor Ramachandran, though we were not very familiar, but while visiting Delhi University, when Professor B. Thakur was there, I was visiting there. And once, most probably, if I remember correctly, in 1989, there was a conference was being held in the Department of Geography, and Professor Ramachandran, he was delivering on the topic, the emerging urbanization trends in modern India. And in very nice way, he detailed the development of urbanization, how it is taking place, and mostly in the towns and the bigger towns, and gradually it is spreading. In the question hour, I got an opportunity to ask a question. And I asked that, what about the extension of urbanization on the line of agriculture? What is your suggestion? Professor Ramachandran, he laughed. And I remember that he told that this is under process, it is going on. But this is for you people, you talk, you write, and you do justice on this topic. But because we have taken so many things on the urbanization trends. So time and again, I got an opportunity to meet Professor Ramachandran, but through Professor B. Thakur. Professor B. Thakur always he was, when I was going to Delhi University, and we met there. So at that time, I found that how he was intelligently and indulged in the department, always busy in classes, running classes, always doing things in a very running way. He was never static. He was always moving here to here, asking to students what you are doing here, what you are here. So this shows me, and I earned so many things, and I used these things when I became the head of department of my department. So this is the great thing what I have achieved today. Professor Noor Muhammad, I congratulate you, sir. And the new scholar today, I have seen him, Subhas Anand. Perhaps he is head of department now. He has welcomed us in a nice way. And so many persons are here. They will say something about the Professor Ramachandran, and we have to learn. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Devendraji. You have given me this chance to do this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Rana Pratap sir, for your auspicious presence and great strength for us to move forward. Thanks a lot. We are really blessed and honored to have with us most renowned geographers on this platform today. And Professor Surendra K. Agarwal, former professor in the Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, as chief guest, who has joined from USA. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Please say a few words.
Hello, everyone, and greetings from Virginia, United States. My sincere thanks to Professor Subhash Anand, head of the Department of Geography at the University of Delhi, for inviting me to participate in this online lecture series on the founders of modern geography in India, organized by the Institute for Environmental Research and Rural Development. I would also like to congratulate the organizers for conceiving and conducting this important lecture series, which honors distinguished Indian geographers whose contributions have significantly shaped the development of geography in India and beyond. It is indeed a privilege for me to see so many colleagues, scholars, and geographers from across South Asia gathered virtually today. I'm particularly delighted to hear Professor Noor Muhammad in paying tribute to Professor Ramachandran, a distinguished scholar, respected colleague, and one of the founding members of the Department of Geography at the University of Delhi. Much has been said by Professor Noor Muhammad about the achievements and contributions of Professor Ramachandran to the Department of Geography. I will not elaborate much on that, but whatever my own experiences of small interaction with him and how he impressed me most, that I would like to share in a few minutes. My first interaction with Professor Ramachandran dates back to 1985 when I joined the Department of Geography. Even before meeting him, I knew his reputation as one of India's leading urban geographers. Fortunately, my arrival at the department coincided with my own growing interest in urban geography. This common intellectual interest provided numerous opportunities for discussion and exchange of ideas, which greatly enriched my understanding of urbanization and urban systems in India. Mr. Ramachandran's interpretation of urban geography was firmly rooted in the Indian context. Having received my academic training in the United States, I initially approached urban issues through Western theoretical framework. However, throughout many conversations, he introduced me to a deeper and more nuanced understanding of Indian urbanization. Often I would visit his office where he would thoughtfully reflect upon urban problems and urbanization processes from structural, historical, and descriptive perspectives. These dimensions were often overlooked in much of the existing literature on Indian cities. One of the most remarkable aspects of his scholarship was his reluctance to rely excessively on Western jargon, theoretical models, paradigms, or positivistic approaches. He believed that urbanization and urban forms in India must be understood through indigenous lenses, through our history, cultural values, spatial organization, systems of social interaction, and national development policies. According to him, many Western models viewed the city primarily as an economic organism designed to produce capital and consume services within a capitalist framework. Such interpretations, he argued, often generated distorted understanding and unsustainable solutions when applied to Indian realities. It was this intellectual foundation that culminated in his monumental work, Urbanization and Urban Systems in India, published by Oxford University Press. The book has gone through several editions and continues to be regarded as one of the most authoritative work on urban India. At a time when much of the literature focused primarily on specific urban problems, such as the growth of megacities, inadequate infrastructure, housing shortages, slum expansion, environmental degradation, and rising crime, Professor Ramachandran sought to uncover the deeper structural processes that produce these challenges. His work filled a critical gap in the literature and remains one of the most widely cited and respected texts on Indian urbanization. Now I come to another aspect which is very unique. So I say that another dimension of his intellectual versatility is reflected in his later scholarly contribution on Hinduism. His two major publications, Hinduism in the context of Manusmriti, Vedas, and Bhagavad Gita, and a history of Hinduism, past, present, and future, published in 2010 and 2018 respectively, demonstrate an extraordinary expansion of his academic interest. During our interactions over more than a decade, I had often sensed his philosophical and spiritual inclinations. However, I could never have imagined that he would eventually produce such profound works spanning theology, Indology, historiography, sociology of religion, ancient history, and comparative religions. I understand that even he undertook the study of Sanskrit in order to engage directly with the original scriptures and related classical literature. Such dedication reflects the same commitment to originally and scholarly rigor that characterized his work on urbanization. His approach was never superficial. Rather, it was marked by a determination to engage deeply with primary sources and developed independent interpretations. I had hoped, actually, that his writings on Hinduism might incorporate more explicit spatial or circulation perspectives similar to the works of scholars such as Professor Surinder Bhardwaj from Kent State University, US, and Professor Rana P.B. Singh from the University of Benares, or Professor Diana Eck of Harvard University. Nevertheless, Professor Ramachandran's contribution remains distinctive. In his most recent work, which I had the opportunity to briefly examine, he raises a fundamental question. Is Hinduism a revealed religion, or is it a way of life? In addressing this question, he employs historiographical methods, historical evidence, textual chronology, and critical value-based analysis. Furthermore, he also challenges the racial and nationalist interpretations of Hinduism that have often been advanced by large community of Western scholars. What makes Professor Ramachandran particularly unique is that, unlike many geographers who remain confined within disciplinary boundaries, he emerged as an eclectic thinker and writer willing to engage with complex and often esoteric subjects. His intellectual curiosity transcended conventional academic categories. Perhaps this philosophical orientation and style of writing were influenced, at least in part, by his Brahminical heritage and cultural upbringing. As we honor Professor Ramachandran today, we celebrate not only a pioneering geographer, but also a remarkable scholar whose intellectual contribution continued to inspire generations of researchers and students. With these words, I thank you very much for your time and attention. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, Professor Surinder Agarwal, sir, for your auspicious presence and great deliberation remarks. I think I would request that Professor Devendra Singh, sir, would definitely, while finalizing this particular episode for getting published, would take your help to, we request your help in contributing all these things into it so that it remains as a document which will be read for ages together for the generations to come. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us, and we need your blessings for making this particular founders and makers of modern geography a great success and a golden history in the history of India. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would now like to invite our distinguished guest, Professor Anu Kapoor, former professor in the Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi, to say a few words. Professor Anu Kapoor, please.
Good evening to all present, and thank you to Professor Subhash Anand, who's chairing my department right now, for putting me on this panel, which is discussing and sharing Professor Ramachandran's slides. I will begin by saying that one of the most influential geographers in my career who I've interacted with has been Professor Ramachandran. I will point this out through a couple of parallel analogies between how he influenced my work and how he conducted his work. When I joined the department as a student in 1978, as a postgraduate student, Professor Ramachandran's classes were the most attractive classes I attended. We were a batch of about 22 students, unlike 120 right now. His presence as a teacher was very gentle. He was extremely soft spoken. In a small classroom, the back row had to strain their ear to hear him out. He always stood and gave a lecture. The days of PPTs weren't there. His lecture was very well thought of. So he did not read the lecture, he lectured. His lecture had a clear categorization. He would introduce the topic, he would explain the concepts, he would elaborate with examples, and then he would operationalize it. Never did his lecture end without connecting his concepts to India. I took his urban geography class, and I would feel that he was at that time developing this whole conversation about Indianization or indigenization of the understanding of urban geography. He did this rather systematically, and I think a lot of the influence of writing his book began, if I may say so, with our class, because I remember speaking to him and I said, "Sir, what are you planning to do?" And he said, "I am shaping the book which I want to write." Now, this was 1978. And he said, I was shaping the book I was writing. 1979, I finished my post-graduation. And he published his book in 1989. So almost a decade. And interestingly, this was the decade I spent in the school, finishing my master's, my MPhil, and my PhD program. I submitted my PhD in 1989, and he got his book published in 1989. The two intersections are interesting, how they influenced me. I had a room where I studied and wrote my PhD in the department, which was very close to his room. We used to have a research scholars room. And he would handwrite his book on urbanization on long sheets. And every time he wrote a chapter, it's hard to believe, but every time he wrote a chapter, he came to the room where I was there because I was interested in what he was writing, and gave me that chapter to read. He says, "I'd love your feedback on it." The chapters were interestingly written. Few people would know, or maybe people do know because I've also published this fact, that the book on urbanization was actually conceptualized like a city from the outside coming right into the internal details of the city. He wrote double the size of which were published. Oxford had divided his book and said, we'll do it in 2 parts. I was against it, and I said we should consider it as 1 part or do 2 parts together. But it was a policy decision. Now, the book was a text, and he was highly influenced at this particular time by Murphy, who was his teacher at the Clark University, who'd written the book American City. And as you all know, the Clark University was one of the pioneer departments of spatial science studies, and the first to offer a postgraduate and an undergraduate program in geography in the United States. Murphy's imprint, and Ramachandran would say this, that Murphy was writing this particular book, and he was very influenced by this fact of how Murphy evolved this book through teaching lectures. So Ramachandran evolved his book through his teaching lectures. So his lectures were his draft notes, which he kept improving, and that's how the book came into being. Interestingly, I was head of department for a short while in the department because I left to take a senior fellowship at the Murthy. And at that time, in about 2011, Professor Dinesh Singh was Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi, and had come to the room where I was teaching a class on mapping or cartography. And it was an 8:30, 9 o'clock class in the morning. And Professor Dinesh Singh came in and he had a discussion with the students, and we were 80 students packed in the class. And he asked the students, what is the real problem you're facing as students? And students shared that there were very few books available as Hindi textbooks. Now, this conversation came to my ears, and I am not prolific in writing Hindi. I'm not. I remember ringing this bell in my mind, and I went downstairs and I called up a friend of mine who's a publisher, Vitasta, and I called her up and said, "Would you be interested in translating one of the pioneering textbooks into Hindi?" She said, "Yes, I would be interested." I spoke to Ramachandran. I sent an email to him. I was been in touch with him all his life. And I said that, "Would you be interested?" He said, "Yes, that's a very good idea." I said, "You'll have to take out the, the IPR commitments with Oxford and give it to Vidasta." He said, "I'll do it right away." He wrote a note to Oxford that he'd like a Hindi translation. They gave him a NOC on it, and Vidasta published the Hindi version of the book. The Hindi version of the book was released when I was head of department, and that was the last time Professor Ramachandran visited the department. It was released in our department with a panel discussion, and it's very well taken. The point I'm trying to draw is that consciously and unconsciously, he also filled a gap of the need of students of a particular kind at that particular time. So his lectures had indigenization. His lectures and his book traveled far and wide. I think, and I would say this, I think he is the only academician geographer in India who has published with Oxford and who's done repeated publications of his kind. As a teacher, Ramachandran would personify what I would call the word teacher means, margdarshan. So he would give a direction. And I have been able to seek these directions with him at various points in my life. I remember finishing my PhD and walking up to his room after my master's program and asking him that would it be a good idea that I study in India or I take a degree abroad? And he said, you will benefit by being in India. And the process of education and PhD is self-learning program. So you could do it anywhere and you could do it here. I've never regretted that decision. So it's an impact he's had. The other thing he kind of influences is autonomy and independent thinking and individual writing. As you can see, his works were not works of co-editors. His works were not works of co-authorship. His works were not works of editing. He wrote himself, and he wrote individually. And he and I would all many times discuss that ideas are individuals and they need to be evolved by a mind put to it holistically. We don't need too many minds meddling it, and too many minds don't make something better. A good mind needs to have done it. Very influenced by this particular fact is why most of 90% of my writings have been very individual. I wanted to put myself to it, and the training of this particular aspect also came with my personal interaction with Ramachandran. He insisted that we must be on top of our material, we must be able to think through, and he emphasized the fact that there is no need to recycle your material again and again. Once you know it, you've done it, you've written it, forget it. That was also a very important lesson for me. And I think my academic journey has been marked by this particular influence. People here have, scholars here have pointed out the fact that he went away. So he left the Delhi school. He did not apply for an extension, which was available. So he left the Delhi school young. One of the reasons I asked him as to why he's not, because for me, the fact that he was going to leave the department was a big loss, and I kind of was keen to know why he's not taking an extension. And he said, "No, I'm not going to take an extension because I'm going to create a second episode of learning, and for which I need time." So he packed. He lived in a flat in Narayana in Delhi. He packed. He sold. He went away to Coimbatore. And they moved into an agrahana, which is the Brahminical place where the habitat is one of a similar kind, kind of an old home. And he moved there and he learned Sanskrit and he wrote the book on Hinduism. And it is Vitasta who had done the Hindi version of his Oxford book, which then published his book on Hinduism. Interestingly, his second book, I was writing my book place name in India, and his second book, manuscript, arrived to me, online, on an email. And I remember I was struggling with the concept of the spread of Hinduism and the changes in the names and the landscape of India. And I was not able to know how I was to conceptualize that. And I kept thinking, and suddenly his book arrives, the manuscript of the book arrives to me to read, and I read it, and I just get this idea from his work, influenced by how he's thought, and I kind of put this together. So his influence on me as in my academic journey, and then as a teacher, has been very, very marked. A third area of influence which Ramachandran has had is he's advocated and lived the fact that you can create a second career of learning after you retire, and this has been very inspirational. Having I finished my academic. I superannuated from the Delhi School of Economics. Was not given an extension. I moved to a second career. I've recently joined a PhD program at the IIT Delhi, and I'm now working in areas of psychology and philosophy, and writing my next piece of work on it. And also have set up a counseling center to see the interaction of man and environment, not just man and environment, but man and man and mind. And I think that's also been largely been Ramachandran's, impact. He was a humble man. He was a kind man. He was a thoughtful man. He was not involved in politics. He was not polluted, and he did not want to pollute the environment in terms of trying to influence things. This is the mind of a scholar. This is the mind of a giant scholar. This is the mind of a great man, a great contribution. To make these great contributions, and you have minds of this particular quality. With this, I would like to thank the panel here for inviting me and hosting this session on life of geographers in India. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Anu Kapoor, madam. I really don't have words to express the way you have unfolded the things. And you were really lucky and blessed to have such a long association with Professor Ramachandran sir, such a big personality. And he was so kind to accept your request in getting translated the book in Hindi. It's really a great contribution by you to reach the reachable rightly, because that is what is actually required when we talk of inclusion of society. It is this core of the section which needs to be attended, and that we have done rightly, and a great contribution definitely, and Professor Ramachandran sir too. Thank you so much, madam. This all is going to be getting incorporated in the publication. I'm requesting you to please get in finalizing this particular chapter on Professor Ramachandran. So whatever missing gaps are there can be fulfilled, and the real things that are to be given to the audience would be available in the form of publication. Thank you, madam. We are blessed to have you here. You are muted, madam. You are muted. Madam, you are muted. Madam, unmute,
You are
please.
muted, ma'am. Please unmute yourself. Ma'am,
Uh,
please unmute.
Yeah, I want to share that it's one of my regrets. I have written the life personally of 30 geographers in India and have not written his. It's my regret. And I'm glad that the panel has taken it. I've written about him in my sections of writing, but I just did not get around writing his life. And that's something I regret. But I'm glad, I suppose life is a journey, and I'm glad that somebody else is going to do this particular work. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. I would now like to invite our distinguished guest, Professor Nitasha Malhotra, madam, Professor, Department of Geography, Kamala Nehru College, University of Delhi. Professor Nitasha.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope I'm audible. Greetings to all my teachers, senior and fellow colleagues of the geography fraternity. It is indeed an honor for me to be part of this august gathering of great contributors to the field of modern geography. Thank you so much to the organizers, especially Professor Subhash Anand, for giving me this opportunity to pay homage to one of my favorite teacher and mentor. A lot has been said about Professor Ramachandran by the earlier speakers, and so much has been told about his personality. And I also shared the same thoughts about him and his contribution, which is so big that it is very difficult to explain, And personally, as an academician, I have learned a lot from him, and his legacy stays with us, and which we would like to, or which we are in our own way passing on to the younger generations. So I recall my days as a student of Delhi School of Economics when I joined as as a postgraduate student, and that as Professor Anu Kapoor just mentioned, his lectures, we would really rush for them. We would be running to secure, I would be running to secure a front row seat in his lecture so that I could catch every word spoken by him, and, kind of soak in all the knowledge that he had to deliver, because it was so precious and so well planned. And that time, when I was a student, the book was not there. So we were also patiently waiting for his book to come. And he would, in fact, talk to us about what he was writing. And when the book came out, it was such a beautiful text, and I think it is unmatched. And the insights it gives us about the urbanization processes, and the in the Indian context, is unmatched. I don't think any scholar has written a book on urban systems and explained the various processes in such an insightful way. So during my MPhil days, I had long discussions with him on my topic of research, which was ecology of fire hazard in the city of Delhi. That time, disaster management was not there as a subject, but what I was working was on fire hazard in the slums, in the high-rise buildings, because that time there was just fire in the Ansal Bhavan. And since we were talking about it in the class, he asked me to do a dissertation on that. So it was something very different, very not very conventional kind of topic. So long discussions with him, they were so insightful, and every time he approved my writing or he approved my work, I was overjoyed, and nothing was more, it made my day. It was so nice to be with him and to experience his, what should I say, his encouragement, his motivation. And I hope I'm able to imbibe even a fraction of it. And, it would be very great for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Malhotra, madam, for sharing your sweet memories of the department and with Ramachandran. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you again.
I would now like to invite our another distinguished guest of honor, Professor Kaushal Kumar Sharma sir, former professor and head Center for the Study of Regional Development, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Professor Sharma sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. And good evening to all of you. Thanks for giving me a chance to speak to you all on a very important day where we are discussing a very tall personality today who is academically and administratively very strong, as put forward by Professor Noor Muhammad, but it by personal experience also. Now, the first question that comes to my mind is that why I should remember Professor R. Ramachandran. And that makes me more nostalgic because when I was a student in graduation and Professor Ramachandran was teaching in Delhi School of Economics, he used to take U special to Narayana from the gate of management study, and I used to take the special from Coronimal College gate to my home. So we were both standing opposite to each other. He was not knowing me, but I was knowing him. The way he used to stand with a suitcase in his hand, the way he used to get into the bus, I hope that made me very different kind of a person that, yes, one day I will also join Delhi School of Economics and he will be my teacher. And that happened in 1982, I joined Delhi School of Economics. What impressed me was that the way he used to walk in the corridor, the humble nature, the way he used to handle the students inside and outside the class, that impressed me, his personality. The way he used to speak, that softness, probably teachers in the present generation do not carry that with them. He was very unique personality. And I was also impressed the way from where we had these 5-6 personality at that point of time in Delhi School of Economics. One was Professor Ramachandran, one Professor Noor Muhammad, my guy, Professor C.P. Singh, Professor Burman, Professor Thakur, Professor S.K. Paul. I hope that was the greatest contribution of that point of time with these all stalwart. Rest of the teacher joined later. Professor Agarwal joined the year after I left Delhi School of Economics, but I was doing MPhil there. So therefore, what happens to me is that why I remember, because of his humbleness and the way he used to carry himself, many teachers do not know how they have to conduct within and outside the class. That was very different. I was also touched by one thing that when he was in my selection committee also, and when I was teaching in Colombo, Patna, teaching in Bhutan, my senior selection grade was due. Then it was difficult for me to be physically present. Then he said it to Dean of Colleges that I know Kaushal, therefore there is no need for him to be physically present and he should be promoted. That touched me. That is the humanitarian part of his way of looking at that, how he judged the student. As a student, he judged me, or as a teacher, he judged me because I was directly his student, taking classes also. But he said it, his physical presence for promotion is not required. I know him. That touched me so good at that point of time that I still remember the way he spoke to me then. I went to and met him. There is another episode that when Ramachandran was there for interview, Professor Majumdar was also there. Then Professor Ramachandran got selected and Professor Majumdar could not get into Delhi School of Economics. But Mr. Majumdar had a great respect, and he always used to talk about R. Ramachandran, that Delhi University made a very wonderful and a good choice to bring him to Delhi School of Economics as a permanent faculty. So that was one episode which always used to make me nostalgic, that yes, sometimes universities make good choices for good teachers to come in. And that is what the advantage Delhi School of Economics had because of R. Ramachandran in Delhi School of Economics, as what Professor Noor Muhammad has elaborated his contribution, both academic and both administrative. And then another thing which makes me nostalgic and unhappy, that I retired last year in 30th June, and I left for heavenly abode on 2nd of July, just after 3 days. When I heard that, I was really shocked and I was depressed for a while that I just retired and he left for heavenly abode. I remember the day. Then another remembrance is that when one time Professor uh, uh, Professor Parihar was there in Kerala, in South, and he met Professor Ramachandran. When he came back and I met Parihar, then he said it, that now, after having met R. Ramachandran, he said it that he has become more spiritual. Maybe that he was alone at one point of time. And he told me that he went to the old age home also, maybe for some reason. Then he came back again to his home. And then he became more say towards spirituality and started reading Sanskrit and translating Gita. Probably made him to write a book on Hinduism as what elaborated by all the teachers there. That means I was fascinated today. After retirement, this is where the shift is required. Leaving the fundamental geography was we used to teach in class, he shifted from fundamental geography to historical and cultural geography. That was another contribution after retirement. That's the greatest one. What we wrote, only one, the greatest one, Urbanization, Urban System in India. I hope we were unlucky to read that book during our post-graduation period. But yes, many people still read, and that is the Bible for urban geography, even throughout India. No, that is the great contribution he had made, and that is where I see, and I can continue to speak many things about him, the way he used to teach us all, and the way. Another episode which I remember, last point I would like to make, there was a time when the undergraduate courses were to be approved, and there was a little disagreement between the courses which were to be approved with me, and I raised certain issues. Then the meeting was over, and the course could not get approved. But then he calls me to his office, and he said, "You have done a good job by raising these issues. We will take some more time to reframe the structuring of their courses, and then it will be brought forward." Now, the idea is, he was, although I was too young for a discussion with him, but how he handled me at that point of time, that yes, you made me a good point. Now I will be able to look into this and reframe the course content again. That usually the patience he carries, what the present generation teacher need to learn from all these basic humanitarian aspect he carries with him. Academically, everyone makes a great contribution. They have done it. But the humanitarian aspect, how respecting the young generation, the young geographers, they made a wonderful choice. I'm impressed by his personality, his conduct in the class, conduct outside, and he is very fresh in mind. Whenever I see or I talk to people, I remember my teacher, five of them, even date today, that we had the best faculty ever in Delhi School of Economics at that point of time. With this note, I thank you everyone for giving me a chance to speak to you all, making me more nostalgic about R. Ramachandran. He had two daughters probably. He never sent them to the convent school. He sent to Karnataka Education Society in Lodi. So he said once that I don't want to teach them in those schools, although they left for US later. I don't know what the situation is. But yes, he was of the opinion that they should be trained, taught, their own cultural, their perspectives in their own framework. I hope that also touched me at that point of time. We did not send them to convent school, but Karnataka Education Society, their daughters were there admitted. I hope with this note, I remember the way others are also remembering him. It is a great gesture and a nice initiative taken by Subhash Anand, Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, and other those who have joined. Probably they all love him. They are still very nostalgic about him, and the academic he carries with him. Administratively, he was so strong with the presentation what Noor Muhammad made. Excellent. I hope Noor Muhammad made all points more relevant. Same as Professor Agarwal also highlighted his contribution academically, same as other done it. So thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me a chance to speak.
Thank you so much, Professor Kaushal Kumar Sharma, sir. I think on this occasion, we are really grateful to Professor Devendra Prasad Singh, sir, for having this vision and mission of introducing this particular concept. And therefore, so many things are getting highlighted and unfolded about the great contributions through your deliberations. Thank you so much, sir. You have very rightly given the quotes of Ramachandran, sir. I will also share my experience at the end.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all.
But what you said is really very true. All the teachers particularly need to follow this because we have to care for the students, particularly the young students, that they should not get demotivated even by some rejections. So the way we need to handle them and keep them appreciated and motivated is what you have given through Ramachandran sir's experience. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Unmatched
sharing
personality. Unmatched personality.
yes, thank you for sharing your golden experiences and
Thank you, ma'am.
thanks a lot, sir, for joining. I would now like to invite our guest of honor, Dr. Josephine Das, Madam, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Geography, College of Arts and Commerce from UPenn, Goa. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, madam. Good evening, distinguished guests. Greetings from Goa to all of you all. And it was a great privilege to hear the presentation given by Professor Noor Mohammed, the welcome address by Professor Subhash. And now I was just listening to Professor Surinder, Anu Madam, and Professor Kaushal. It gives me a great pleasure to say that though Professor R. Ramachandran is not there amongst us today, but his legacy, his personality, his work, his academic achievements is like speaking volumes about this departed soul. I thank Professor Devinder Singh for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to nicely make a point over here that Professor Noor Mohammed has nicely presented the four phases of Professor R. Ramachandran. And what was very interesting was to summarize that in his last phase that he wrote rather than geography, wrote more on spirituality. And this was the lessons of life that I as a professor are going to take from this session. His commitment to excellence, his academic leadership, his intellectual curiosity, his service to the institution of Delhi, and his lifelong learning experience are some lessons that young geographers like me and others are going to take. In a way, this meeting has personally benefited me since I'm able to see and hear so many of my senior professors, eminent professors of geography. And this lecture series, Professor Devinder Singh, Savita ma'am, has shown me the lasting legacy of our previous professors, their testimony of leadership, motivation, and continuing legacy to modern geography. Thank you, sir, and Madam Professor Savita ma'am, Dr. Devinder Singh, Rana sir, and all those present for giving me this honor to say a few words on this occasion. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Josephine, Madam, for always joining and being with us. We need your strong support on this platform.
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
yeah, it's really very aptly you have said. We are really learning a lot from these episodes and
Yes,
the
ma'am.
great contributions that were not known to us at all. So thank you, Devendra Singh, sir. So many great experiences are being shared of great personalities uh, who are no more with us, some are there with us.
Yes.
And thank you so much. It's a blessing for us to have these
Yes.
episodes.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Yes.
I would now like to invite coordinator of the episode, Dr. Rajesh Kumar Abhay, sir, Associate Professor of
Ma'am,
Geography.
ma'am, I think
Yes.
Professor Poonam Bihari is there. Huh? Poonam Bihari. Yes. I think.
Yes,
Madam
sir.
Poonam Bihari, are you there?
I'll do the vote of thanks.
Okay, 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 okay.
Dr. Rajesh Kumar Abhay from Cluster Innovation Center, University of Delhi.
Ma'am, thank you so much. It has been a wonderful session. It was all the blessings of Professor Subhash Anand and Dr. Professor Devinder Singh that this thing has came true. And I became the part of this event. I'm really blessed and I'm really happy that all of them have joined and shared their valuable thoughts on Professor Ramachandran, which is loved by all of us. So thank you so much. This is from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for being there with us. Thanks a lot. I would now like to invite our Saga observers, Dr. Uttam Sagar Shrestha, sir, Associate Professor, Central Department of Geography, Tribhuvan University, Kathmandu, Nepal.
Greetings
Dr.
from, thank you, Professor Sarah, and President and all the members of this episode. And most of the things have already covered by the speakers, so I don't have to say anything about this. But situation is almost similar with our countries also. We have also faced the same problem during 1970, 1980s, and 2000. Definitely, one thing is that we have to consider our religion in terms of urbanization in our context, not only in terms of Western world. So that I have that needs to be considered in context of our process. So I don't have to say anything about this. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to say few words on this. Thank you for the ERD, Savita Madam, Savita Madam, Devinder sir, and all the persons. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shrestha sir, for being there with us on this platform. Your presence are blessings for us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
I would now like to invite our most respected and beloved president of the session, Professor Sudesh Nangia Madam, UGC Emeritus Fellow, former President and Head, JNU New Delhi, and ex-President of NAGI IIG AGS, to please give her presidential remarks. Professor Nangia Madam, please.
Thank you, Professor Swasmita. It has been a real treat to listen to all my colleagues about Professor Ramachandran. So much has been said by Professor Noor Muhammad, Professor S.K. Agarwal, Professor Rana Pratap, Professor Anu Kapoor, Professor Malhotra, and Professor Kaushal Kumar, and our young professor from Goa, that there's very little left for me to speak about it. It has been a great pleasure, in fact, to have known Professor Ramachandran. I would tell some experiences of mine with him. When he joined the university department in 1969, that time I was a PhD student working with Professor V.L.S. Prakash Rao and also teaching in Miranda House. One of the problems that we were facing at that time was computer programming, because computer was just recently entered into Delhi School of Economics. We were working with the second generation computers that time. And those of us who know about it, our senior generation, must be having an idea of what a elephant type this computer was. And it, in fact, occupied a whole lot of space in Delhi School of Economics. We were working on mapping. And when Professor Ramachandran joined, I was asked by Professor Prakash Rao to get in touch with him and work on computer mapping so that we could introduce maps into our PhD program. Now, at that time, we did not have the programs the way we have these days, and we had to create our own library functions. Professor Ramachandran worked with me for almost 6 months to prepare a program for mapping, which turned out to be successful only after a long exercise. I used to come from the college after taking my classes, sit with Professor Ramachandran, and very patiently he would sit and work with me. And I must tell you, after a period of 6 months, when we had the first map, we were really excited. And of course, I could bring out only one map for my thesis. And after that, there was a spate of maps which were produced by my juniors, especially Abdullah Fanun, who came from Palestine, and he was working with Professor Ramachandran, and Christian Prabha. They were the next who produced a number of maps. This is how we started computer mapping in the department, and it became very popular exercise. While I used to work with him, in fact, many of my colleagues, they used to wonder, they would say that, how do you understand him? He was a very soft-spoken person, and so was I at that time. I don't know, now I'm quite a loudspeaker, but that time, but we could understand each other. But the person sitting next to us would say that we have not been able to make any head and tail or out of what you are talking about. So much was, I would say, the telepathic conversation that it became very easy for us to communicate with each other. A second stage, of course, then of course I was in contact with Delhi School of Economics, and I have been even in touch with them right now, and I've seen successive heads of the departments come and go. And I was, in fact, one of the first student from Delhi School of Economics, from the Department of Geography. I was in the second batch. Our first batch consisted of 4 students, and they were all girls. Our second batch consisted of 7 students, of which 4 of us were girls. And all of them got placed very well in various departments of the Government of India. Now, the other experience that I had with him, when I wrote my first paper, which was published in Analytical Geography, when the department was trying to bring out a journal of its own. And I must say that we have seen several departments, they have their own in-house journals, whether it's Aligarh, Banaras, Madras, or even Bombay. But somehow or the other, Delhi University has not been able to continue with that journal. Maybe because Professor Prakash Rao left at that time and Professor Ramachandran was busy in organizing the department all over. So that could not be started. But the first 2 issues which were started, they were worked with great vigor, I would say. And I remember the paper that I wrote, I got a lot of help from Professor Ramachandran and Professor Vinod Tiwari, who was also one of the students of Professor Prakash Rao. After having completed that paper, which was on gradient analysis in Delhi metropolitan region, which is again how the urbanization process changed from the core to the periphery. That was the gist of that paper. But it used some statistical methods, which I was trying to learn at that time. When the paper got ready, I was hesitant to bring it out in my name, and I told Professor Ramachandran and Professor V.K. Tiwari that this could go in joint name, and I requested Professor Prakash Rao. But the answer was no, the paper goes in your name, and since it's the first paper, let it be there in your name. And I had to give my acknowledgement in the footnotes for the contributions of the 3 professors who guided me at that point of time. See, it was real pleasure to listen to Professor Noor Muhammad and Professor S.K. Agarwal and Professor Anu Kapoor, who have very extensively covered each and every aspect of Professor Ramachandran's personality. In fact, they were all complementary to each other. There was no repetition. And this itself shows the diversity of his activities in the department and in the profession. Now, they talked about our great geographer. They talked about the growth of the department. They talked about the expansion of geography department in colleges. They talked about the job opportunities for fellow geographers, diversity of subject matter, extension of the departments in various colleges. And they talked about his emphasis on not only his personal growth, but growth of his fellow faculty, growth of the students, growth of the subject matter, and so on. So that shows the diversification of activities in which he was engaged. I remember that when he was Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, he also made me one of the members of the academic academic committee that they have in the School of Social Sciences in Faculty of Arts. So I had the opportunity of having interacted with him at that level also. One thing which really um, was beneficial to the student community in Delhi School of Economics was the title of the subject of human geography to be changed to geography. In fact, when we did our master's, we got a degree in human geography. So, looking at the syllabus, we found that at least 50% of our subject was related to the physical aspects of geography. It was on geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, pedology, cartography, and all other subjects. And the other 50% was devoted to human geography. Even soil science, pedology was one of the subjects that was being taught to us by Professor Burman. Now, but the disadvantage was that once we completed our masters, we had nowhere to go because we didn't get jobs in any of the colleges. Delhi University did not have, but then in the colleges of Punjab and elsewhere, we could not get the job because that time probably UGC was very strict. So we were told that you don't have a degree in geography, so we cannot take human geographers. I think that was a sad part of it, and that is probably what made us shift to the other disciplines in the meanwhile. But then during his period and during Professor Prakash Rao's period also, we find that this subject took more of interdisciplinary approach, multidisciplinary approach, and geography is now being accepted not only in the Department of Geography but elsewhere also. The first thing that they did was to change the nomenclature so that the students do not suffer. Now I find that our students are working in various departments with equal authority as would be the other disciplines. With all this, I would thank the organizers, Professor Devendra Pratap, and our convener, Professor Sasmita, and the head of the Department of Geography, Professor R.K. Abhay, those who have very painstakingly taken these efforts to make this program a success. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Sudesh Nangya, madam,
Thank you.
for summing up in nutshell the enormous contribution of Professor R. Ramachandran sir in your presidential address and your golden experiences of association with Professor Ramachandran sir. Thank you, madam. And I'm also blessed to have you as president of the session today because during 2001 you had taken my PhD Viva at IIPS Mumbai, and today is 2026, almost 25 years have
Yes, I
passed.
do recall.
Yes, and I'm having your association and your blessings, madam. Thanks a lot for being
You
there.
are my esteemed colleague.
Yes, thank
It's a
you.
pleasure to see you often on this
Yes,
platform.
and I'm grateful to Professor Kamla Gupta madam and Dr. K. Sita madam for having your association at the institute. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
On this occasion, I would like to share my one small experience. I'm student of Dr. Arunachalam sir and Professor K. Sita madam. And K. Sita madam was writing one paper for Professor Ramchandran sir, this urbanization and urban systems in India. So madam requested me, will you please help me in getting some data, analyzing it and preparing maps. I have to write a paper. I said, yes, madam, sure. But then you will be losing your time of your PhD and you're on study leave. I said, no matter, madam. For me, you are most primary in all my life. And so I devoted entire time, almost more than 6 months probably. And I handed over the entire thing to Dr. K. Sita madam. And one fine morning, I was in the institute. Professor Ramchandra sir had come there and he gave two books to Sita madam that were released. And he said, this is one for your co-author and one for your copy. She said, no, I will call her because I was there in the institute. I will call Savismita and you give personally to her by your hand. And she called me and she said she is the second author. And I was surprised to see that madam had written my name also as contributing author for that paper, which I never had thought also of it. it was a great surprise, but it was so kind of Madam also to acknowledge, not in the acknowledgement, but writing as a co-author with Dr. Sita Madam was a great personality. And then I was so touched. I took the book and physically sought blessings of Ramachandran sir at the institute. It was a great honor for me to meet him there. What is quoted here by everyone, I could experience in just 5 minutes of my association with him at the institute. Thank you so much, sir, Devendra San, for having these episodes where we are able to share our golden experiences. Thanks a lot. I would now like to invite our intercessor, Professor Devendra Prasad Singh, sir, to please say about our future programs.
Thank you, madam, very much. And I am very grateful and obliged to so many senior professors and budding geographers of our country on today's episode. And actually, it can be observed that this one is perhaps one of the most glorified and successful series of our venture. And it is all due to two persons, which must be paid honor by me. Professor Subhas Anand, the young and dynamic head of the Department of Geography of Delhi School of Economics, has cooperated us in a big way, so that galaxy of geographers from the Delhi department and other colleges came to our platform and shared their views. And the young budding geographer, my friend, young friend, Professor R.K. Abhay, is also very much helpful in organizing this 71st episode. And both of them have promised that they will be always helpful in conducting the episodes. And Madam President, we have a list of heads of the department of 60 Indian universities, and Delhi university list is also with me. And we have about list of head of the department of about 60 university department of geography, and we have to organize lectures on Professor S.G. Burman, Professor S.K. Pal, Professor Thakur, Professor C.P. Singh, and several others. And I shall request Professor Anand and Professor R.K. Abhay to finalize the name of our speakers and the date later on. And I am very much happy to announce that on the 21st of June this year, we are going to complete the 5 years of the journey of our this mission. That is online lecture series on founders and makers of modern geography in India. And on the 21st of June, we shall be presenting our report card of these 5 years. And we will also present the list of our future programs. And we are preparing so many things which should be disclosed on that very day. And I am very much thankful to Professor Noor Sahab, because without his very committed and very focused endeavor. The lecture and the chapter on Professor R. Ramachandran would not have been completed because very few people have records about Professor Ramachandran. But Professor Noor Sahab has labored his best of his efforts to collect materials and prepare the lecture and also prepare the chapter on Professor Ramachandran. And friends, I am very much happy to bring your notice that we are going to release 6 volumes of the series that is Founders and Makers of Modern of India. And I have also requested Professor Anand to cooperate us in releasing these volumes, because we are planning to release these 6 volumes by the Honorable President of the country. And Professor Anand has assured that he will be helpful, he will be always very much cooperative to our missions in future also. So these 2-3 points which I have to mention, and I am very much thankful to you all for cooperating and guiding and supporting our mission in such a big way. And Professor Nangia, the today's president, also has been helping to our mission like a very generous, very cooperative elder sister. So her contribution and her support should also be saluted. So with these words, I am very much thankful to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Devendra Singh, sir, for briefing about your future programs, and wishing you all the best in these endeavors with lots of blessings from the Almighty. Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Dr. Poonam Bihari Madam, former faculty, Miranda House, University of Delhi, to propose vote of thanks. Professor Poonam Madam.
Madam, please unmute
Madam.
yourself. Madam, please unmute, ma'am.
Namaskar. It's been extremely heartening and nostalgic to hear all the tributes to Professor Ramachandran, my teacher and mentor. And it is really my privilege to propose the vote of thanks at the conclusion of this very memorial lecture dedicated to the life and legacy of, as I said, my teacher and mentor, the modern Indian geographer, a distinguished geographer whose work continues to inspire scholars, faculty members, students, practitioners alike. Today's event has not only honored a remarkable academician, but a wonderful human being. Always soft-spoken, modest, simple, and one of the youngest professors of the Delhi School of Economics. Always encouraging, always approving. So my sincere thanks to the Institute for Environmental Research and Rural Development for initiating this remarkable series on the founders and makers of modern geography in India. I wish you all the success, and it's a wonderful idea. On behalf of everyone present, I extend our thanks to Professor Noor Mohammed for detailing the academic and administrative achievements of our Ramachandran, who we celebrate today. I would also like to thank our respected patron, Professor Rana Pratapji, our president, Professor Sudesh Nangya, our convener, Professor Chavanji, for keeping the evening very constructive and focused. And thank you, Professor S.K. Agarwalji, for your very insightful talk. Professor Subhash Anand, thanks for taking the lead for doing this, and we look forward to more lectures. Many thanks to our distinguished guests, Anu Kapoor, who very rightly talked about our small classrooms and our very personal rapport with Professor Ramachandran, Professor Nitasha, Professor Kaushal Kumar, Professor Dias, for sharing their reflections. It has been a truly special to have observers from Nepal and South Asia areas. And a special thank you to you, Professor D.P. Singh C, for your support. Thank you, Rajesh Abhay, for coordinating the episode. It takes a lot of work to do that. And my sincere appreciation to the organizing secretaries. I acknowledge also the efforts of Mr. Dev Prakash for his technical support to ensure the smooth running of this session. Memorial lectures are more than ceremonial occasions. They are opportunities to carry forward the legacy, curiosity, scholarship, and academics of professors like R. Ramachandran. So without everybody said a lot, and it's wonderful, with very sincere gratitude to everyone who has given their valuable time to come and attend this event and contributed to its success. Thank you very much, and namaskar once again, and all the very best to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Poonam Madam, for your auspicious presence and sparing your valuable time in proposing vote of thanks with due respect to one and all present here. Thank you, Madam. Thank you so much. We are really grateful to our organizing secretaries, Dr. Amrish Kumar Rai, Dr. Amit Kumar, and technical support, Dr. Dev Prakash, for making all these episodes a great success, because without their technical support, it wouldn't have been possible. And so I now request every one of us to please stand for the national anthem. And Professor Amrish, please play this. भारत माता की जय. वंदे मातरम. Thank you. Shall recording